Hello. My name is Aniruddha, and I welcome you to this short urban sketching demonstration. Today I'm sketching another scene from my hometown of Bombay. It's a iconic street junction in the old part of town. We're not going to spend too much time looking at the drawing part, but I just wanted to give you the vibe of what it feels like sketching such a wide panoramic scene. Knowledge of perspective is not necessary. What is more important is getting the proportions of all the elements in the scene right. Go too big and all the elements won't fit on the page. Go too small and you'll be forced to change your composition. I started by making sure the main building in the scene, that yellow colored library, is well positioned, well proportioned. After that, I roughly block in where all the larger elements in the scene will fall on the paper. After the larger elements are in place, then I move on to the smaller elements, such as this truck or the bus stops. On this occasion, I decided to start the painting from the main building in the scene, the yellow library. However, I could just as easily have started from left to right. In this first application of paint, I pay attention to the parts of the scene that are being hit by sunlight. You could even say that I'm painting in the color of the light. The way I'm progressing is that I started with my warmer colors. First my yellow, then moving on to the oranges, then the reds, and I will eventually move on to the cooler bluish colors later. This reduces the number of times I have to clean my brush. My sketchbook is placed on a drawing board. That drawing board is at a slight tilt. What this does is when I put the paint on the paper, it flows downwards, giving me that bead at the bottom of the wash, which I can use to connect and continue the wash forward. Putting in some earth yellow there to just add variation. Also need to put in that warm yellow on the left for the road divider. Now I'll turn my attention towards painting the sky. First I'm wetting down the sky area. Then I am going to use my tissue paper to lift off some of that water. This is where the clouds will be. Then onto the moist paper, I will drop some pigment right at the top and hope that it will flow all the way to the bottom. In this instance, the paper I'm using is not that great, so it's not flowing that much. To rectify this, I will use my brush and just give it a little push. This will also allow me to soften some of the edges around the clouds. There isn't a particular reason why I chose to go with the purple sky. I just felt like it today. While the paper is still damp, I'm going to add some darker shadowy areas at the bottom of that cloud, of all the clouds. Again, creating a sense of perspective in the sky as well. We are now on to our second pass of paint. Here we will mostly be working with mid-tone values. I am starting with the shaded part of the library, which can also be called as the form shadow. There are still bits of the building even on that side which are being hit by light. So I'm trying very hard to maintain those light bits. To create a sense of volume, the form shadow that I am painting on is a lot less subtle than the one in the reference image. So now I'm connecting that form shadow with the vegetation on that road divider there. To be honest, I'm a little bit disoriented at this point. Usually with the midtones, I am looking to make connections between large areas of similar value. But since this scene is so wide, most of these areas are rather small and therefore rather difficult to connect as well. Okay, so I'm going to turn my attention to the left of the scene. I am going to start by painting in the cast shadows of those buildings there. Cast shadows are darker than form shadows, but I can't go too dark as those buildings are fairly at the back. I'll see if I can connect those cast shadows to maybe the form of the subway entrance, maybe even the tree. Next, I'll move to the red rooftops and red lined parapets of the library building. Those are such nice linear graphic elements. Through those red parapet lines, I have now moved to the right hand side of my painting. Here, making connections will be a whole lot easier. And once I can start finding connections, it will be easier for me to find flow in my painting process. I'm going to connect the form shadow of those buildings into the tree there. And I'm going to connect that tree into the shadowy bits under it. And I'm going to connect that to the right hand side, all the way to the right hand side of the scene. That's just one large connected shape there on the right. I'm now using a cooler mix of paint for that cast shadow there in the background. It's a mix of ultramarine and burnt sienna. And I chose this mix because it's very easy to lift, and I'll be doing some lifting there later on. Notice the attention I pay to the edges there in the back, using them to simply hint or indicate at things, elements in the background. I'm tilting my board from the left so the paint flows to the right side of the sheet, literally giving me better flow. As I'm adding those darker bits, I was hoping that that area would still be moist. But this is mediocre paper, so no such luck. Again, I'm just hinting at pillars and doors on that building there. I have moved my attention back to the left. I'm painting in that large tree there, and I want to add depth and variation to it while it is wet. We are now at the finishing stage of the sketch. Although I did mention that it is an easy one, it needs a good amount of patience to complete. Since it's such a wide scene, it has a lot of small elements. As you give attention to these elements one by one, it takes up a lot of time. I have sped up this part of the video quite a bit, but let me tell you, this one took way longer than most of the other sketches I make. As I add more of these touches, you can slowly see how the sketch is coming to life. These touches only work because the underlying values and large shapes are correct. They would not have worked otherwise. They are merely icing on the cake. I am going to use my white gel pen to put in some traffic signals and lampposts. Public infrastructure like this, lampposts and wires, just add that further pop of perspective such street scenes need. You can also use the white gel pen to get back any highlights that you may have lost. I am going to add some blobs of almost opaque paint on the right there to denote some people walking. More than the people, I am interested in the shadows that they're casting. Again, adding a sense of depth and perspective. And with that, this demonstration is done. Thank you for joining me here today. Please remember to do all the YouTube things like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I will see you in the next one.